One thing that does happen to some people that are indoctrinated very young, that the experience is so negative to them that they rebel. And they rebel, and then they seek out other ways of thinking, and then you find them eventually abandoning the religion. There's a woman named Megan Phelps. Do you know who she is?
I think I do.
She's
yes.
Fred Phelps from the
Yes,
Westboro
yes,
Baptist
yes.
Church. She was his granddaughter. And
Yes.
amazing woman.
Yes.
And she wound up communicating with people through all things Twitter.
Yes.
And met her husband.
So she
through Twitter.
rebelled against her
Yes.
father. Yes.
Her grandfather. Yeah, she wound up leaving the church and wound up realizing that she was trapped in some sort of a Christian cult, and a very hateful one.
Yes.
They're the God hates fags people.
Exactly,
right?
I know. And the same was true of Nate Phelps, who was Fred Phelps' son. And he also escaped. He escaped on his 18th birthday.
Wow.
And became an atheist and became, I think he's actually spoken at some of our conferences from time to time. So,
yeah, there's hope in that.
Yes,
right?
there is.
It's just when I like when people can, and I've had her on the podcast. She's such a unique woman, and she's so kind, and she's so thoughtful and intelligent. It's hard to believe that she's only been out of this cult for a few years. I mean,
So let me just respond to this, Joe. First off, homie, Christianity is not a cult. When you remove Christ from the center or discredit his deity and turn it into a self-centered something made from the bitter and envious dark hearts of man, then yes, you have just removed the saving power of the gospel and created the deadly atmosphere of religion. A dead, lifeless body, just full of death, no life of the Holy Spirit, nothing. There are most definitely a lot of churches that they totally neglect deliverance ministry and dealing with things in the spiritual, and they shy away the knowledge of spiritual warfare, and they like to sit in this fantasy land. And because of that, they end up being blindly taken captive by the Jezebel spirit and being manipulated and puppeteered by fear and control. Anytime you remove Christ or discredit who he is, there's no power. It's a dead cemetery. You kill the foundation of Christianity. And most definitely when you do that, then yeah, most definitely that does make churches most definitely legalistic and religious, and it's more religious and fear-based versus relationship with Christ-based, growing and being filled with life and power through intimacy with God. And that is ultimately what ends up leading to churches looking like cults and operating like cults. If Christ is not the head, then you are most definitely idolizing something else, making something else a god that is an abomination in God's sight. If it ain't Christ, homie, it's an abomination. Most definitely open doors for demonic, cult-like, manipulative activity. This cult-like behavior can be very narcissistic. I've seen this in churches myself, and I'm pretty familiar with it because I've been in narcissistic relationships. You'd be shocked, bro. If you don't know anything about spiritual warfare, it'll go right over your head. Cult-like churches are very controlling and manipulative. Something about God, he's all about setting free. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. There's some people who are trying to set you up for success, and they may advise you with organization, which is a successful habit. But then there are those people who will just try to control you for no reason. Literally just try to just exercise power over you just so they can feel in control. That's not God. That is a subtle, snake-like exercise of a territorial spirit, such as Jezebel. So instead of trying to be cleansed and renewed from the inside out, they're trying to be cleansed and renewed from the outside, doing works and creating an outward expression of holiness. Is Christianity a cult? No. But what I will say is there are people who are leaders in churches who neglect very important things that ends up totally affecting their perception and their understanding and how they see things. For instance, like getting comfortable with fear. Fear will keep you from intimately experiencing and knowing the hand of God because you're scared to step out of the boat and walk on the water. And because you're scared, you never develop the faith and trust in the fact that God is real. You're insecure in that father son, father daughter relationship between you and God. And so we know that the spirit of fear is directly connected to the spirit of bondage. And then you beat yourself up. You beat yourself up, and then you try to do a whole bunch of works to put those good works on your conscience and try to make it in heaven. That's how you get all in the legalism, all that stuff. The subject. I'm not going to go on this because it's going to turn into a whole nother lesson. So in Christianity, nobody's perfect, but what's most definitely going to happen is with your relationship with Christ, it's going to have an effect on you. Just like you go hang out with somebody and you become wiser, stronger, or something, they rub off on you. When you spend time with Jesus, that time and that relationship, that intimacy is going to affect you from the inside out. Are you being set up for success and being changed inwardly day by day? Or are you being set up by the territorial principality of a cult? Let me know in the comments. Love y'all. Your boy Josephus with Golden Street Ministries, homie.